So let's begin by discussing the basic rules or laws for operating the human machine, for getting the very best out of ourselves. I'd like to begin by introducing some basic principles or laws that we'll be coming back to over and over again as we go along. First of all is the law of control. The law of control is an essential law in understanding how we function, and many psychologists, if not most psychologists today, have come to the conclusion that the degree of control that we feel we have is in direct proportion to the amount of mental health that we have. The law of control simply says that we feel good about ourselves to the exact degree to which we feel we are in control of our own lives, and that we feel bad about ourselves or we feel out of harmony with ourselves to the exact degree to which we feel we are controlled by outer circumstances, by other people, by things beyond our control, if you like. Psychologists call this the difference between an internal locus of control, a feeling that we're behind the steering wheel of our own lives, and an external locus of control, a feeling that somebody else is controlling our lives and taking us where they want us to go. Control begins, first of all, with our thoughts, what we think, and that controls our feelings, what we feel, and leads to how we perform or our actions. But all control begins with taking control of the thoughts we hold in our conscious mind. The second principle or law is a metaphysical concept called the law of accident. The law of accident says, in effect, that there is no way that we can control what happens to us, that everything just happens by accident, that it's not what you know, it's who you know, it's the way the cookie crumbles, it's being in the right place at the right time. Unfortunately, whether they realize it or not, the vast majority of men and women live their lives by the law of accident. By failing to plan, they're planning to fail. They have no goals beyond the short term. They make no plans. They don't really feel that they're in control of their own destiny, and they just hope that somehow things will work out all right for them. One of the major reasons we have so much negativity and disharmony and unhappiness and misery and skepticism in our society is that most people feel like bump cars in a carnival, that they go off in one direction or another depending upon the next incident that happens to them. And of course, people who live by the law of accident can have no sense of control or mental well-being. Opposed to the law of accident is what we call the law of cause and effect. Now, the law of cause and effect is really the basic law of the universe. It's the law of the cosmos. It is the reason that everything happens. And the law of cause and effect simply says this, that for every effect in our lives, there is a specific cause. That if we do not like the effects that we are enjoying in our life, it is up to us to identify the causes and change the causes. That irrespective of whether or not we know what the causes are, there is a reason for everything that happens. There is, in fact, no such thing as an accident. Everything that happens in our life happens by law and not by chance. And that it is our primary duty to understand the laws that control our destinies, and by understanding the laws we can control the causes and change the effects to anything that we want. You will recognize immediately that the law of cause and effect is completely consistent with the law of control, because if we can identify the causes, we can control the effects and therefore control what happens to us in our lives. And people who live happy, fully functioning, harmonious lives are people who live by the law of control and understand the law of cause and effect in their lives. Under the law of cause and effect, there is one major application, which we will return to again several times, and that is simply this. It is that thoughts are causes and conditions are effects. That our thoughts are always the primary causes of the conditions or effects in our lives. That we control our lives by our thoughts, that everything that we are today is the sum total result of all the thinking that we have done to this moment. That if we wish our lives to be different in the future, we have to change our thinking in the present, and by so doing, we change the direction of our lives.